Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. My name is Manaz, and this podcast is for mums who want to carve out time so that you can work in ways that work for you, your life, your family, and of course your business. Together, we will discover why you are not prioritizing your business and the actions that you can take so you can live an intentional, productive, and fulfilled life without mum guilt. So let's dive in to today's episode. Hi, so welcome to episode 55, Perfectionism versus Progress. That is such a great topic, right? Now, everybody that I've spoken to some level or another understands that trying to be somewhat perfect, we all have that in us, right? We all are trying to make things good enough, make things better, improve them, and have them be of a certain quality, because we're putting our name on it, whatever that might be. It might be writing content for a post, it might be doing a video, it might be trying to launch something live, anything at all. When we feel like everything has to be a certain kind of perfect, because let's be real, there isn't a perfect thing for anything. It's a measure that we decide what is perfect, and that's going to be different in everybody's eyes. And with the type of work that you do, because you're the expert in that area, you will imagine that perfect to be so much higher than anybody else who doesn't have the expertise or the skills that you have. So I think firstly that is like a game changer. It's just understanding that your scale is very different than somebody else's. What you do in your work, you have a scale for that in terms of what is quality wise, what's poor, what's good, what's pretty good, what's excellent, and maybe even what's on the perfect side. Now that scale is very different for your ideal client because they're not where you are. And I think this can be astounding. When we get our head around that, we can really start working and seeing that what we do is just about doing the next thing, and it's about making progress. So turning that into action and implementation and finding the middle ground that is right for you, because we don't need to be on either end of the scale. We are never going to be on either end of the scale. When you have a passion business and you are helping others with the skills you have, you are always going to be on the top end. But maybe how we perceive others would see that might be our perspective. And hopefully this will help you sort of shift your perspective on that our scale can be very different to someone else's. Therefore, what that means is we can take some pressure off, we can take the lid off the pan and let some steam out and just decrease the pressure by saying we get to decide how good is good enough and when we're ready to take the next step, rather than staying stuck in that place of repeating and imagining that it's not ready, because we can get caught up in our own world. For example, we have so many ideas and we are very creative beings, right? And having lots of ideas, for example, in terms of your business, it might be you want to run something live, you want to get your email system up and running, you might be wanting to create different types of free offerings and resources. Well, we can have loads of ideas under all of those type of things, and we can fill up all of our notebooks and have them sitting by us, but they're no good to us until we take the steps, until we commit to one thing, until we make it part of our radar and our priority list, and then say, right, we have to push this perfectionism out of the way to say that what is right for me to do now And it's okay if we don't do everything, because we're not robots and we simply cannot do everything, which we are fully aware of. But what we can do is pick one thing. And if we pick that one thing and didn't spread ourselves too thin, then we are going to be more focused on that one thing than just generating more and more ideas that fill up paper and literally are sitting in our desk or drawers and we're not actually doing anything with them. So I think it's powerful to take that moment to think what is the right thing for you. And once that intention is set, it sets up a new way of deciding how you're going to work through that, because is it something that you can do on your own? Do you need to have some more skills to do it? Is there a gap why you have not done it yet? And is there a fear? And what is that fear? Is it doubt creeping in because you're not really sure that you can do it? Is it because you don't know tech? Is there like an issue there, something that's coming up, that nagging feeling that you're just not going to be able to complete? What is that? And really diving into what that is, because only then can we understand how to move that block out the way. It becomes a roadblock and it will stop us. So if we want to make progress and we're not, what's the reason for that? So yeah, I invite you to take a bit of a reflection on this and see if there's anything that you feel that you're really wanting to do, but you know that you haven't taken steps to do it. Now, there are times and seasons for rest, absolutely, and I think, nature shows us this in absolute perfect beauty. When we sow seeds in a garden, they're not all going to germinate, right? There will be things, ideas that we have that just don't work. But do we focus on the ones that don't work, or do we nurture the things that are starting to bloom and become more consistent with that thing, because we know they have a fighting chance of survival when they've been through the toughest time from going from seed to germinating even. And that analogy just reminds us that if you look at farmers and every single seed doesn't actually turn into a harvest, right? But we somehow think every single idea we have, every single thing that we put our focus on should just work, and it should work really well, and we're just waiting for that kind of random idea to just take off like anything. But the truth is that if it did, we probably wouldn't be ready for it, because we need to be in a place where we're able to manage all of the things that come with that. And perhaps if it doesn't work, there's more lessons in there than if it did work, if that makes sense. Because when something doesn't work, we are forced to reflect on and look at what we can do, why it didn't work, and possibly what we could do to improve that. So these are all lessons that we learn. And remember, success never comes just randomly. Success is as a result of loads and loads of failures, right? Because every time you fail, if you get up and try the next thing, and you try the next thing, and when it does work, we concentrate on what worked, but we have to recognize that even this, when we're looking externally and seeing other people, we don't know all the things they tried that didn't work, right? We only know the stuff that they are doing now that looks like it's working from the outside. The truth is theirs. We don't necessarily know or are in a place to know the whole truth, and that's okay. That's the way it goes. So yeah, what's your takeaways from today's episode? How do you feel about perfectionism? And if you don't necessarily think that you are living in that world where you don't believe that something's perfect, there's still that scale, right? There's still that scale of what you believe to be good enough. You might not call it perfect, you might call it excellent, or you might call it a certain standard. Whatever that is, there is definitely food for thought in terms of putting that to the side and kind of using it as a guide, but not solely letting it lead us, and instead letting progress be the thing that we are striving for, because then we're just consistently taking the next step, taking the next step and the next one after that. So hope that's been helpful. Do check out the show notes and pop me a message. Let me know how you are enjoying the podcast. So until next time.